All right, class. First off, as always, good day. Glad you're here. So, um, this video is about the oligopoly and monopoly type of market structures. Okay, so here is your warm-up picture. Now, first question is always, what do you see? Okay, look at the picture, look at the bottom to the top, things like that. All right, so make your list. Um, a lot of students have asked me, what does exploitation mean, which is by the foot. Um, I would suggest that you look it up, um, but if you are like, I don't want to stop this and, I just want to keep watching, fine. It's cool. Exploitation basically means you're taken advantage of, all right? So if you're being exploited, that means you're being taken advantage of. Um, I'm sure you guys know what corruption and so that. The other one was evasion, tax evasion. Basically, tax evasion is when people don't pay their taxes. They majority of the time these are millionaire people. People have a lot of money because what they do is they basically put their money before it can get taxed, send it to places like the Caribbean or Switzerland, places where they won't get taxed, so their money is there and it won't get touched by the government. Okay. So other than that, you should be able to decipher this warm up pretty well. All right. The second question is, what do you think is going to happen next? All right, now I'm talking about not only the person, but the people below. What do you think is going to happen next? You think the person is going to keep on continuing to um, walk on them, or do you think the people are going to fight back? Okay, and then why do you think this? Okay, what stuff on this picture shows you that? Okay, so go ahead, finish that up. We're going to be doing the notes in 3, 2, 1. All right, so the first market structure we're going to talk about is oligopoly. Now, I realize that some students can't say this, so try it. I would try it out. Say oligopoly. Okay, if you can say it, awesome. If you can't, that's okay. Some people can't say some words, which is fine. But oligopoly is a market structure in which there are very few sellers, but they dominate the market. Okay, so a good example is like the car industry. Okay, um, you have like Honda, uh, Nissan, you have Chevy, you have Dodge. You have like cars like that. Now the thing is, those cars I mentioned, you see them everywhere, right? Now, I'm sure you're thinking, well, what about like Ferrari? What about, these other millionaire type of cars? Well, that's the thing because an oligopoly is basically what can be available, right? They dominate the market, right? How many people can honestly afford a Ferrari? Only those people with a lot of money. Yeah, so that's the thing. So only a certain amount of people can get those things, which are luxury items, which is, you know, really hard to get. But to get a Honda, to get a Civic, to get a Toyota truck, whatever, they're everywhere. You can get them. That's the thing. Um, Now, the thing is, not there are not enough in the industry to where a single company can basically control the output, the sales, and the prices. Okay. The thing is, there's very few of them, very few companies in this particular industry, but it's not like one dominates over the other because it's kind of like the other ones are still butting heads with them. So there's at least two, you know, maybe three or four or five, something like that. But there's at least two, and they're basically in the same range of power, and they're still fighting for your dollar. Okay. So oligopoly is basically between a perfect competition, which we talked about in the last video. So if you don't know anything about that, or you forgot, I would suggest you go back and watch that video really quickly, um, to help you out to remember. Okay. And the other thing is monopoly, which we'll be talking about in this video. So it's oligopolies between them two. So other examples of oligopolies are soda companies, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. I'm sure you're thinking, well, there's Sprite, there's Dr. Pepper. Thing is, those two companies own them. That's the thing. If you don't believe me, look it up. You look up what companies does Coca-Cola own and what companies does PepsiCo own. You'd be surprised. So if you haven't been in my class, um, and during this time, um, or since, you know, you should really, really look that up. What companies does uh, Coca-Cola own, and which companies does Pepsi own? Another one is fast food chains. So something like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Jack in the Box, things like that. Now I know some of you guys may be thinking, well, how about like Five Guys or In and Out? Well, the thing is, like In and Out is only sold in California, parts of Nevada. I think there's like two stores in like all of Texas, which is a big old state. But you won't see an In and Out in Tennessee. You'll find a McDonald's. You'll find a McDonald's in Russia. You know, that's the thing. So these companies, these fast food companies, especially particularly burgers, they're everywhere. But the thing is, it's not where there's only one type and they dominate everyone else. No, people either like McDonald's or they don't. They like Burger King or they don't. You know, and it's usually within those 4 or 5 um, fast food burger joints where people like them or prefer them over the others, and it keeps them even basically. So there's no one that is dominating the market. All right, so price fixing. This is basically an agreement to change um, a price either the same as everyone else or similar to everyone else. So think of it like this: if um, you, your best friend, and I all own the same type of product, and we're all in competition against one another, and like you're selling it, the product, $5 cheaper, your friend is selling it $10 cheaper than me. I sell at the high price. Um, I would like have a meeting with you and say, you know what? Let's all put it the same. Let's put ours at the same price as mine. You know, because the thing is, that way, if someone buys yours, you're making $5 extra, and if someone buys from your friend, they're making $10 extra. You know, and all of us are in this have the same exact product, and we're dominating. So then, what else are they gonna do? Either they're not gonna buy it, or they're gonna buy it, and one of us is making money. Maybe all three of us are making money, right? Um, typically they would do is put that price, the fixed price, above. Like say this is the average price, they will put it above here, just a little bit above. Okay, this is very illegal. All right, because the thing is, the market is supposed to be ran through competition. The companies that are going against each other are not supposed to be talking to each other and think of a scheme to basically rip off the customers. Right now, in 2006, 20 airlines basically did this. They got together and they said, let's put the prices here at this level. You know, the average is here, but it's right here. Because the thing is, they knew people are not going to take the train, because it take too long. People are not going to go on drive to where they need to drive because, again, it takes long and costs a lot of gas, things like that. People are going to fly. And so they're like, well, they need us. Let's all raise the prices to this certain level. What are they going to do? Not go with us? They're going to come to us. So yeah, they got caught, they got punished, they were fined. But thing is, again, um, price fixing is illegal. All right, so here's the kind of a little hard part for you since you're by yourself. What are some other oligopolies that you can think of? All right, like I said, it's supposed to be you and your group because this is a tough one to think about, and I wanted you guys to talk with your group mates, things like that. So, what I would suggest is since you're by yourself, look online for some oligopolies. You know, do not use any of the ones I already gave. So, like the automotive industry, the fast food, or the uh, what was that? Yeah, it was auto, fast food. Oh, and the sodas. I gotta forget about the sodas. But use something else. Okay. So whatever it is, whether it's, let's say, using my example, the oligopoly that my group or I came up with is soft drinks, sodas. The companies that make up this oligopoly are Pepsi, Coke, you know, I guess you want to put Shasta, their own company, but they're very low, you know, um, things like that. Okay, so name what the product is, right? What do they do? What service do they do? What the product is? And then the second empty line, what companies make up that place? So again, using my own example again, do not copy it because you won't get any points. Like if you say I came up with automotive industry, the companies that make up this oligopoly are Toyota, Nissan, Chevy, things like that. You're naming the companies, but first you're naming what the product is. Okay, so that's what you're doing. I suggest again, look online. Companies that are oligopolies, products that are oligopolies, that has oligopolies. Okay, and then write the product, whatever it is, and then the uh, the companies. Okay. All right. So now we get to the monopolies. Now this is some fun stuff right here. Um, the first one is a natural monopoly, which is a market in which the cost of productions are actually minimized by having a single company produce the product. You know, it's rare, but it does happen. You know, so when a company owns everything, the price actually goes down. Now, some of you guys may be thinking, how does that make sense? Shouldn't what if a company owns everything when they raise the prices? Well, here's how it works. Okay, they could provide services cheaper than if they had other competitors. So a good example is public utilities. Okay, so basically stuff like telephones. When we mean telephone, we mean talking about landlines, um, water, gas, electricity. Because the thing is, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but like the electrical wires, right, going around. Uh, if there were like 8 companies that provide electricity, you know, they would have to like cross these wires would have to cross like parts of town, things like that. And the ones you see just from one place to another, um, they may, be like times that by 8. So if they did follow the line, so imagine how much wire to be hanging down, things like that. And imagine if like they crossed, you know, instead of going straight how they do now, if they were like crossing a road, things like that. And what if someone hit a pole and knocked it down? Is just going to take that one pole? No, because then they're like crisscross and things like that, and they all come down. Or if somebody hits a pole and all the wires come down, everybody electricity goes out, things like that. Um, Now the thing is, same thing with like water. These pipes that they have underground. If they have like 3 companies that are producing water, and one of them goes out and they start to fix it, they're tearing up the roads. And what happens if they destroy another line? Well, then now more people are without water. So instead of them doing a job one time and that's it, fixing the problem, now you got to, tear up the road, fix it up, fix the problem, fix up the road, and then also now another company that tear up that same part of the road. And so it costs money. It actually costs more money that way. Um, so it would look congested, everything. Like I was talking about the electric wires, things like that, the underground area, where they put the pipes and stuff like that for water and stuff. It would be congested. It really would. All right, so geographic monopoly is basically a monopoly that's based on the absence of other sellers in certain geographical areas. So a great example is like if you ever go through the Mojave area, through the desert area, someplace that there's not much towns and things like that, you'll see there's signs that these like gas companies, or gas stations put up saying no gas station for the 100 miles. Because the thing is, they want you to look at your gauge and be like, can I make it another 100 miles with what I have? If not, I better get some because who wants to be stranded in the middle of the desert area? You know? So that's what they do. So, and then with that, you have nowhere else to go. So then, more likely, the prices are higher because again, you have nowhere else to go. You have no other options. Either get gas there or get stranded. Okay. Um, so if like you ever move to a place and you want to start a business, you should look into a new town and like look around and see like what are they missing here? What do they need? And you can basically get a monopoly on whatever the product is in that town. For a good example, if there is no, let's just say no fast food place, if people want the fast food and they have to like drive to the next town, which is I don't know like 10 minutes away or whatever, um, you should start a business there for fast food. You'll get business because we're also gonna do go to the next town or get right there. Chances are they'll get there. Another type of monopoly is technological um, monopoly. This is based off the ownership or the control of manufactured methods, process, and scientific advancements by a company. Um, so let's say like the iPhones. Can another company say, I'm making an iPhone? No, they can't because you know why? They have a patent. Apple has a patent on iPhones. So nobody can use the term iPhone. Can other people make other type of smartphones? Absolutely. You see it all the time. The Galaxies and the Apple phones and um, the Google phones, things like that. There's plenty of different type of phones. Um, but can they use the term Apple, iPhone, iPod? No, they cannot because that's owned by um, Apple. Okay. So they have patents. That's the way you basically coin whatever you've invented, you know, and nobody can sell it and we can try to reproduce it because it's yours. Okay. Now, if let's say they have something similar, that's okay. But if it's exactly the same, things like that, then yeah, you can sue them. All right. All right. So another type of monopoly is the government monopoly. This is the one where the government owns and operates uh, a type of monopoly. So a good example is um, city water. Okay. Um, Another one is like your mail. You know, they are the post office. They handle the mail. Now you can. That's why things like emails, things like that. Yeah, it's electronics, but paper stuff. It is the U.S. Postal Service. Okay. Um, Another one is like if the U.S. government creates weapons grade uranium. If you found uranium in your backyard, let's say you're digging a hole, and some boom, there it is right there. You can't do anything with it. That's the government's job. That's their thing. Okay, they'll pay you. That's your property, but it's not like you can use it and then you know dig it up, and start refining it to be weapons grade uranium. No, because you'll probably blow up your neighborhood. You know, so things like that. That's the government. They'll take over that. Okay, nobody else. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to sell it to this place, this company. Mm-mm. U.S. government takes over. All right. So now the final question. Do you think that monopolies should be allowed? Should all of them be allowed, some of them, or none of them? Now, if you pick like some, I would suggest you refer back to your notes and look at the natural, geographic, technological, and government monopolies, and basically tell me which ones should be around and why. You know, if you say no monopolies, the writing props right there on the top, I believe that no monopolies should be allowed because, and explain. If you say all monopolies, all of them should be allowed, well, I believe that all monopolies should be allowed because, and explain. And again, if you say some of them should, maybe one or two, there you go. I believe some should be allowed, such as, and name them. Name them. Which ones do you think? And then why those two? Why do you think those two should be allowed and not the other ones? Okay. Don't forget, this is where a lot of your points come from. Okay, so be sure you answer this completely and in correct sentence form. All right, so that's the end of this lesson. When you go to class, uh, we have a little project thing going on, an in-class project. So please see me if I haven't put you in a group yet. But if you have, good job. Uh, just keep working, doing your thing. Um, but other than that, hope you learned something new, and I'll see you guys in class. All right. So take care. Be safe.